everyone! I'm Charlotta and I'm fashion historian. And today's video is about how 18th century fashion changed into the regency silhouette. First of all, I really want to thank you all so much about the comments and the likes on my last video about the Bridgerton series. I'm just so happy so many people liked it. And I thought, as Bridgerton is trending right now, and there's probably a lot of you who wants to learn more about Regency fashion. And actually today's video's topic is really important to me, and I really love this topic. So today's video's topic is how 18th century fashion changed into Regency style fashion and what affected on it. Because fashion just doesn't change on its own. There's always outside factors, why it changes and how it changes. Let's start what Regency fashion means. So the Regency fashion, Regency era is named after Prince Regent, the future George IV. So that timeline is very limited. It's from 1811 to 1819, I think. So that is really small time frame, but usually the term Regency fashion is to cover from start of 1800s to 1820s. That is what we usually associate with Regency fashion. Fashion and dress is inherently linked to the politics, morality and philosophy of the time. So that is the base how we think of fashion. There's always outside influences which influence to the fashion and dress and how we dress. It's never just what is on style, but it's more complex. So, during the late 18th century, philosophers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I'm sorry, I don't know how to speak French, so I don't know how to pronounce French philosophers' names. Rousseau thought that people should return to the nature and be more natural. And that was what was fashionable in the high societies in the French in the 18th century, late 18th century. And Rousseau's ideas includes the idea that Rococo aesthetic is bad and unnatural. Obviously the high classes didn't think that it was bad and unnatural, but at the same time classical Greek and Roman art was on rise again, as it has been for several centuries already. And several artists were painting women as characters from Greek or Roman mythology. And here is one portrait of Emma Hamilton, who was one of the most famous models of the era. These dresses in these portraits were just draped fabric in the style of the ancient Roman Greek fashions. And this style of portrait became very popular with the rise of ideology, return to the natural. So even though this style of dress was seen on portraits, that wasn't what women actually wore. But that's all kind of getting us there. And for example, in this portrait of Emma Hamilton, she's one of the most painted person. Actually, my friend said that she's the most painted woman in the world, in the history. And here you can see the fabric, how it's draped beautifully, and it's really a natural silhouette, but she still has that high waistline just underneath her breasts. And it's very different from the fashion of the era, from the Rococo fashion with the hooped silhouette. I'd say the first steps towards Regency dresses are these portraits, obviously, and also Chemise Lorraine, which was worn by Marie Antoinette and her friends. If you don't know what Chemise Lorraine is, you can see the picture right here somewhere. and it was quite scandalous. And you can go and watch my video about Marie Antoinette, how she dressed, and there is more information about Chemise Lorraine in there. But basically it was much more casual style of dress. It wasn't formal, obviously. And it was casual in a way that women wouldn't wear regular kind of stays underneath. It fitted to the ideology of stepping back to nature and being more natural. And it was made of cotton usually. And it was usually white. There was other colors, of course. But it was, in these portraits, it's often white. There's some fashion plates that show us the colored versions, but I think that is one step towards to the Regency dress, because it's structured very similarly. So it is structured very similarly as early Regency dresses. During the French Revolution, rules of fashion started to loosen in France, and certain colors and certain upper class dresses went out of style, as people were afraid to wear anything that could relate to the upper classes, to the monarchy. Because of the revolution, you wouldn't want to be mistaken as a monarch, or you wouldn't be mistaken as a royalist during a revolution. So white was something that was very popular color to wear, because that didn't relate directly to the monarchy. It was plain. It's kind of sad because Marie Antoinette had already died, and then Chemise Lorraine became a fashion again. And it's a style that she essentially started. But yeah, Chemise Lorraine is structured very similarly to the late 18th century round gown, which looks, the late 18th century round gown looks very similar what women wore in the portraits when they wanted to look ancient Rome or Greek women. So it was often also paired with that curly hairstyle, that it was all curls and it was gathered up there with ribbons and stuff. And it was inspired by the old ancient Roman Greek women, how they wore their hair. Obviously it's not like 100% accurate. It's not, but it's how late 18th century people saw how ancient Greek and Roman women did their hair. And this late 18th century round gown is already quite close what we think of as Regency fashion. The waistline is higher up, it's there what we think of Regency fashion. And the color is usually white, like we think of Regency fashion, even though Regency fashion there were a lot of colors, it wasn't as plain as we think it is. But yeah, most importantly it is that the silhouette changed because of the political ideology and because of returning to the nature and being more natural. So that was the basis for the Regency dress, why it is how it is. And there the dresses started evolving, obviously. It started from very plain, very white. There started to be more color in the outfits, and the hair started to look more different and more sleek. There would still be the curls right here, but it would be more sleek from the back. And there would be more and more details further we go, and less just that white dress. And here I made a little slideshow to you how Regency fashion has evolved. As you can see, dresses started from quite plain and unstructured, and they go on to be more structured with more details. Eventually, during mid-1820s, the waistline started to go down a bit by bit and ended up as what we call as a natural waist by 1830s. To conclude this video, fashion doesn't changed radically without a reason. It is not a separate thing that exists outside of other cultural phenomena. It is always affected by what else is happening in the culture. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this a little bit smaller video about why regency fashion is how it is. And tell me on the comments why you like regency fashion, maybe. And please link follow if you want to see more videos like this or more costume reviews, and follow my Instagram, which is period corset. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!